What you are about to hear is highly classified.
Hey gang, Brant here, back with another Marvel Now review, but it's not a number one, and I know I said I was just doing the number ones, but I'm going to do All New X-Men number 2, and before I get into all that, let me just say that I'm not going to do number 2 issues for every single title. I'm just not. I'm not going to keep reading every single title. There is no way I'm going to do FF number 2. But and even though I enjoyed it, I'm not going to do X-Men Legacy number 2 either. You can watch the Dark Avenger live show number 16 on Dark Avenger C86 channel on YouTube if you want to find out my thoughts on that. But there's a few series that I'm going to continue reading, I'm going to follow, and if I feel like it, I'm going to do reviews on them. All New X-Men right now is one of them, and probably the main one. And let me before I even get into the review part, let me say one more thing, and that's that when we did some for a while back, and we were talking about before Marvel Now started, and we talked about all the books that we were interested in and the ones that we weren't so crazy about. All New X-Men for me was not one I was interested in. Everybody else was, intrigued by the whole X-Men coming from the past. I was very scared for Brian Michael Bendis to be on X-Men, and I was very leery of this whole past meets the present, young meets the older kind of story. I've seen that kind of stuff done before and done poorly. And with Bendis, I said this on the live show, when he started on Avengers, I thought it was really good. All the titles he was on, I loved it. I loved the first run of New Avengers. I loved Avengers Disassembled and everything that sprung out of that at first. But over time, I think he stayed on those books way too long and way past his ability to make them interesting. Now, I haven't read his final issues on any of those titles, so I can't speak as to what some have said, where he's really good in the beginning, falls off in the middle, and really good at the end. I don't know. I just know he was really good in the beginning, and then he fell completely off. So, I was very skeptical of him being on X-Men, but I have to admit that All New X-Men has become my favorite Marvel Now title so far, and we're only 2 issues in. Of course, as you're seeing this, issue 3 is already on the stands, so we'll see if things continue to be as good as they are. But I'm very impressed with these 2 issues, and I actually liked issue 2 better than issue 1, and I loved issue 1. Issue 2, I'll go ahead and give you my score, 5 out of 5. It was the best Marvel Now book. It was the best Marvel book. It was probably the best book I read this week. So, yeah, I really, really enjoyed this issue. And basically, last issue we left off with Beast traveling back in time and interacting briefly with the classic 5 X-Men. And so this issue we get more of the same, with him being cryptic, just trying not to break the time stream too much. And we do learn that the way he got back was with a time cube, and that Reed Richards created and he modified. So he went back in time to bring them to the present, so Scott could talk to Scott. And so we get more of that, and them trying to get out of Beast why they need to go and what exactly has happened. So Beast tries not to say too much, but he slowly reveals details like, and they kind of, they're intelligent kids. They're the X-Men, and they kind of guess at what is taking place through some questions to Beast, and Beast kind of skirting the issue and everything. But basically, he finally convinces them to come, and it's really cool to see their reaction when they get there. Like Jean Grey's, they pop up at the school, at the what used to be the Professor X's School for Higher Learning, and now it's the Jean Grey Institute. And she's like, "Why is my name on the school?" And then it's like, oh, it's that revelation. And when they encounter some of the other current X-Men, it's funny. There's a scene where Wolverine is teaching a class, and he gets a whiff, and he says, "Talk amongst yourselves." And then there's this beautiful page where he's diving at Cyclops, because he thinks it's the other Cyclops, and then he realizes it's not, and they're like, everybody's like, "Beast, what the heck did you do?" And it was a brilliant scene, in my opinion. And I don't know, this was just really well done. The dialogue between the characters. I mean, Bendis, he's good at talking heads. He's good at that kind of banter and that dialogue. And I personally feel like he nailed all these characters. He got classic Jean, classic Scott, classic Bobby, classic Hank, and classic Warren. And each one of them interacted with Beast and interacted with the other X-Men. Iceman meeting Iceman, they both had the same reaction. They just screamed their heads off seeing each other. And it was just really interesting the way everything unfolded. And Beast, spoiler alert, he went into a coma, and so he was kind of out for the entire issue. And the younger X-Men had to figure out what to do from that point, because they couldn't go back. And now they've seen what has taken place. They've seen their dream fall apart, and Scott is aware that he has killed Professor X, and he doesn't understand how he could get to that point. And Jean knows she's dead, and she's trying to figure out things, and she's also trying to cope with new powers, because when at the point that he went back in time, she didn't have all the abilities that she developed over time. But as soon as she came into the present, all those abilities started manifesting. And she basically told Wolverine to go to sleep, and he just passes out on his face, butt sticking up in the air. It's a really comical scene, and he's just out of it. And later on, I think it's either Storm or Kitty walks in and goes, sees Wolverine laying there and goes, "Uh-oh." And basically the young X-Men, they find out that Cyclops is out finding mutants, and they said, well, if that's what he's doing, maybe we should too. And so they just take off on their own. They don't consider themselves kids. They don't consider themselves anything but the X-Men. They consider themselves the X-Men, which they are. So they're like, Beast is out. We know what we need to know. Let's go off and try to fix things. So now you've got them off on their own. You've got everybody at the school scrambling, trying to help Beast and trying to figure out what's going on. And it's organized chaos is how I'll refer to it. It's chaos. Yeah, if I can talk. I've been up a long time. It's chaotic as far as the way the events are unfolding and everything that's going on, but it's organized because it's paced so well. It flows perfectly, and I cannot recommend this book enough. I mean, the art, Stuart Immonen's artwork is amazing. The colors are vibrant and beautiful. I don't have really any complaints about this particular issue or even this series, really. I had some nitpicks on last issue, but this one, absolutely loved it, and I can't wait for the next one. So 5 out of 5. Check it out. And that's going to wrap up this Marvel Now review. And check back with me for another review here soon. Please check out Zone 4 every Friday on zone4podcast.com and comicrelated.com, of course, on iTunes and all that. And on Dark Avenger Inc.'s YouTube channel on Sundays. Till next time, thanks for watching.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production.